Hey YouTube, it's Taki with TaqiTech. Okay, so in our last video, we finished the height portion, the very final attribute that we're going to use in this version of the fake names spreadsheet. Now, one of the things that we did here was we took the height, whether it be like 75 inches or what have you, and we declared it to 5'4", 5 foot even, and so on. I didn't really discuss how exactly we did that. I realized it as soon as I was done with the video. It's like, oh, I didn't talk. I know I mentioned mod, but I didn't really talk too much about it. So basically, what I did here, and I remember talking about this, and I think I got distracted by declaring what exactly the function was returning, the type of data the function was returning. But here we go. So basically, what I did here was I made a string, which is a bunch of letters basically, and I casted the inches divided by 12 into an int. The reason why I did that is so that it would be a whole number. Because if I get 13 inches and I divide it by, oh, that's wrong. That's not what I want. 25 inches and I divide it. Oh, sorry about that, guys. So if I get 25 inches and I divide it by 12, I'm going to get, or I divide it by 2, I get 12 and a half, and that's not what I want. Basically, I don't want any decimal points here. I just want a whole number. So that's going to be coming back as a string, even though I casted it as an int. I just wanted to get that effect for a whole number because this format height here is a string up here. So whatever I put in here is going to get converted to text. So it's going to give me not a text, let's say it's 60, so it's not going to give me a text, a number 5, it's going to give me a text 5. And a lot of times, the languages that our programming languages that we use, well, this is really taking me back to when I first started studying programming, and they talked about stuff that I haven't really thought of too much since, but basically, we're programming at such a high, our compilers are at such a high level at this point that we could just go back and forth and use a numerical 5 and then use a character 5, and and we can add with the character 5. We don't generally need to change those numbers around. It's not that big of a deal anymore, but you might end up having to cast it, and that's basically what casting is and it's usually done with numbers. It's not really, I don't recall. And in VBA only has like 9 data types anyway. It's not like Java or even PHP where there's several different data types. So that was a digression. So I'm going to get off of that now. So basically, we got a whole number back. We threw it into a string. And then basically, like I said, we wanted to get the remainder of what we had left. We're not concerned about the whole number now. We want that 0.5, but we want it back in a whole number as well. And I could probably cast this as well to a whole number, but I pretty much knew mod always returns a whole number. I'm pretty sure. I might be over speaking there, but I don't recall ever mod not returning a whole number. Basically, mod gives you the remainder. So when I take the same inches as before and I mod 12, it's going. So if we're dealing with 63 inches, it's going to give me 3 inches. So then we get our 5, and then we put our little symbol there. So these are just characters, and they're a part of the string. 3. So when I go to the namespace called format height that's being declared as a string, it's taking the numerical, not the numerical, wrong one, the character 5, this little thing here, concatenating, putting them all together, and then taking the remainder 3 as a character and putting it all together into that format height. So actually, I'm glad I didn't explain in the last video. It would have made that video really long. Alright, so now one of the things that's bothering me with this project is height and weight should be kind of together. We got age here that's kind of out of place. The good thing is that this program how we wrote it is pretty much dynamic, or there's certain aspects of it are dynamic. It's not fully dynamic. That might be something that we work on in the future. Especially one of the things that bothers me, if I could digress a little bit, is we're using pretty much the same logic here in a lot of our modules. And we're reusing code basically. And we shouldn't be doing that. But the principle my principle at least is get it to work, refactor later. If it works, you meet the deadline, it's doing what it needs to do, that's the most important thing. Not how good the code looks or how efficient the code is necessarily. Um, so so where was I going before I went off on that tirade right there? All right, so this is what happens when I do these in the morning. I have a lot of energy. So all right, so I don't like the fact that the height is right next to the age. I want height and weight to be next to each other, and very simply that can be done just by doing this. All right, let's test it out. So I just moved get height in front of get age, and technically what should happen here is it should give me weight, height, then age. Okay, let's give it a shot. So we're going to call this new day, new age, 8-ball and MJG. Here we go. And there we go. Exactly the way I wanted it. And this is one tall lady, 6'5", 164 pounds. Man, was she olive oil or something? Man, 66 years old. Okay, that's how you live into your retirement years. Not that old. Whoa, we got a 91-year-old man here. Israel Monroe. It sounds like a dude that was born in the early part of the 19th century, so or 20th century, I should say, early 1900s. So with white hair. I'm glad we got that right. I mean, and that's something too. When you start looking at this, you're like, okay, well, if he's 91, he shouldn't be having black hair unless he's just for men or something. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it for this this episode here. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments. Don't hesitate. If you like this information, if you learned something, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up at least for the energy in this episode. And if you like the channel, if you like the information that you have seen, if you watched a few videos so far, make sure you subscribe. It would really mean the world to me if you subscribe. That's like the air I breathe, as Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know who he is, I'm just kind of stealing that from him. But until next time, take it easy.